Hey YouTube, welcome to Trevor's Vinyl World. Today I want to talk a little bit about rapper 50 Cent. Everyone that's into collecting hip-hop vinyl records, a lot of people have the 50 Cent album Get Rich or Die Trying. It's a total classic, awesome album, came out in 2003. Today, though, I want to talk about what I feel is his album that really gets slept on. And it's not a studio album of his. In fact, it's a soundtrack. It's a soundtrack to the movie Get Rich or Die Trying. So basically, 2003, you had his album Get Rich or Die Trying. Then his film came out that was called Get Rich or Die Trying, and they made a soundtrack to that, but that was not released until November 8th of 2005. So, you know, like a year and a half to 2 years later after the 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 Get Rich or Die Trying album that blew up. So basically in 2005 when they released this soundtrack, I think a lot of people by then were just a little tired of you know, G Unit Records was created by 50 Cent, and he had his Get Rich or Die Trying album in 2003 that came out. Then he had G Unit released an album. He had it was called Beg for Mercy by G Unit, and it was basically him, Young Buck, Lloyd Banks. Well, then Lloyd Banks had his own solo album that was called, I think, Hungry for More or Hunger for More. Young Buck had his own solo album. And then 50 Cent discovered Game, and Game had a masterpiece album that came out. All these albums came out between, you know, 2003, 2005. There's a lot of G Unit music out there. So I think then when this soundtrack came out, people were just a little, there was just a little too much exposure, a little overexposure for 50 Cent. I think the same thing sort of happened to Lil Wayne when Lil Wayne was at the top of his game. It felt like every time you turned on the radio or turned on anything that was hip hop related, you would hear Lil Wayne. And I know that there was like a 6 month period where even though I liked Lil Wayne, I was just sort of getting sick of him. I think this is sort of what happened with this. This really got slept on. And it's not a masterpiece. And I would say it's not as good as his 2003 Get Rich or Die Trying studio album. But I would say this is his second best album that he's affiliated with. I really like the guest appearances on it. Everyone from Nate Dogg, Mobb Deep, Young Buck, Lloyd Banks. There's just a lot of really good other artists that pop up. You got a lot of good songs here. Everything from Hustler's Ambition, I'll Whoop Your Head Boy. I know that back in the day, I tried to make a parody remix version of I'll Whoop Your Head Boy. And there's a whole bunch of remix versions of this that incorporate Lil Wayne. So if you look up on the internet, I'll Whoop Your Head Boy, Lil Wayne. I want to say there's at least two different versions with him. There's a lot of different versions of that song. I know mine that I made. I'm not gonna do all the lyrics because it wasn't that good, but I know it started with two white boys in the front, two white boys in the back. That's four white boys rolling around in Grandpa's Cadillac, and yeah, I'll leave it at that. It didn't come out that good, so I didn't go platinum or anything like that. But no, I just 50 Cent is one of those artists that doesn't have like everyone talks about his original studio album Get Rich or Die Trying. It's a masterpiece for its time. It's you know, what can you say other than that? But that's really all people ever bring up when they talk about his rapping. Now he's known more for his entrepreneur business stuff and his feud with Floyd Mayweather. He's always on X or whatever online talking smack about someone, but I just think this really got slept on. There's a lot of good songs on here: Window Shopper, Born Alone, Die Alone, um, Get Low. I mean, I can go on and on. There's like, if you buy the right version that has bonus tracks, this has 18 songs on it. I'm actually gonna order the vinyl for it. You got to pay anywhere from 60 to $80 for the vinyl, but you can get a CD of this for $20. I just think it's one of those that is sort of a hidden gem. Um, you know, everyone thinks about the studio album. No one ever talks about this. And actually, the movie wasn't bad. It could have been a lot worse. I would say that this film, Get Rich or Die Trying, was definitely better than the Biggie biopic. So if you watched the Notorious B.I.G.'s biopic, um, and you were entertained at all by that, I would say that this Get Rich or Die Trying, the movie, was better than that. Problem was it wasn't as good as 8 Mile, and I think it just, you know, timing is everything. And I think when this came out, there was already so much G Unit stuff out on the market that this was really the last thing anyone was desiring. But now we're talking 20 years later. If you're someone that enjoyed the original studio album and you know, Curtis Jackson or 50 Cent, he has other albums, but you know, they're sort of whatever. I know he has one that's called like The Massacre. I like that one. And then there's another one too that I might actually do a video review on one day. But no, I really like this one. It's, yeah, I think it's his second best album. Maybe, you know, if I really analyze it, maybe like the G Unit album. I'd have to go back and listen to that one. But I just think this one does get slept on. And, you know, if you were a fan of the original studio album, this one here has got a different vibe to it because you have so many different guest appearances by other rappers. So it doesn't feel anything like the studio album with the same title. But at the same time, it's still 50 Cent back in that time period doing what he did best. I mean, he's just so good at these songs where he's talking shit and in a way making, you know, guns and all that stuff in a way funny. Probably not good for society, but if you have a dark sense of humor, or, you know, I've always learned to separate art from reality. And, you know, obviously I wouldn't want my kids listening to this when they're really young, but if you're an adult and you enjoy hip hop, especially from this time period, I mean, I know I did and I still do. I enjoy listening to this more than stuff that just came out a month ago. So I like to go and find records and albums that maybe people have slept on, and you know, put them out there so that someone out there will give it a try. So yeah, if you are looking for something from this time period, I definitely would recommend the movie soundtrack for Get Rich or Die Trying. Came out in 2005. Yeah, G Unit, man. Anyways, subscribe to the channel, like the video. In the comments, let me know what's one of your favorite 50 Cent songs, and everyone have a good one.